Hi guys, welcome to my channel. On this video I want to talk about a new piercing that I got. I got my Daith or Daith piercing. Yeah, I got this last week on Friday. Let me get closer so you guys can see it. But yeah, I got it done and it's so pretty. I really like it. And yeah, I want to talk about my experience because I've been watching videos on YouTube to see if anybody else has had the same experience with this piercing as myself. And apparently not. Like, I'm the only one, I guess. But I got my Daith pierce or Doth. There's various ways to pronounce it, but I got it pierced. I would have to say that out of all the ear piercings that I have, this is by far was the most painful for me. Mainly I would say is because I'm not touching it. Mainly is because it's a really thick part of the ear. And yeah, but I have various ear piercings and everything, and I have this conch piercings here, and I wanted to get a conch piercings, but because we are still in the middle of a pandemic and we are wearing masks, I thought that getting a conch piercing right now would be a pain in the butt, because you have to wear a mask and it's going to rub against the piercing a lot. So for that reason, I decided to not do that. And the next best thing would be a Daith piercing, which is really nice. I really like it and interesting. And yeah, I really like how it looks. I think it looks really cool. So I got the piercing and it was painful. It wasn't like, oh my god, I can't stand it pain, but it was a little bit more painful than all the other piercings that I have on my ear. The piercer was really nice, and it did bleed a little while I was at the piercing shop, and the piercer cleaned everything up and cleaned all the blood and everything, and he even took pictures of it, and then I went home. So as I was driving in my car, and I said, oh well, this is nice, and I just felt like the whole this side of my head and my face just hurt. Like it, I can feel it pulsing all over, like just feel it almost like a mini headache on this side of my head, my face. Usually when I've gotten my other ear piercings, I would feel the pain and the pulsing pain like just on the ear part, but on the Daith it was like I can feel it all over through here. Yeah. While I was driving, I felt like some warm in my ear, and I looked and I saw blood dripping down. And I was like, oh my god. And I started getting little napkins to get the blood and, take it out. But just more and more blood kept coming out. Like, oh my god. It kind of freaked me out for a minute. And like, yeah, so it started bleeding a lot after maybe like 40 minutes after I left the piercing shop. It just all of a sudden started bleeding, and it was just bleeding uncontrollably, and I was like, oh my god, what did I get myself into? Like, now I'm gonna have to go to the ER because of this bleeding. But fortunately, after, I would say, it bled for like a good minute. A lot of blood came out. Like, it stained my jacket. I had like a white jacket on. I had my jeans, and it really, like, the blood was coming out so fast. it dripped on my clothes and everything. And yeah, it got really messy with the blood. But after a minute of like intense bleeding, it stopped. I just gained composure. I originally wanted to go back to the piercers to see what can happen, but you know, as I remembered and I have experience with my other piercings, I just decided to go back home and just clean my ear out. And I cleaned my ear with salt water. And yeah, and so far I haven't had any intense bleeding ever since. Um, Ever since, I've only bled a little bit, like little crusties of blood, for like 3 days. And then after that, like now we're on, today is today is Thursday, and I got my piercing on Friday of last week. And now when I clean it, I don't really get blood or any crusties of blood. It's pretty much, it kind of feels healed even though it isn't. It's still pretty fresh. Any cartilage piercing takes at least 3 to 6 months to heal. But at this point, after like about a week in of healing, it feels, the pain is not there. I do not feel a pain on the side of my head, and I do not feel pain on my ear. Only if I like even touch the back of my ear, then I would feel that it's a brand new piercing. But I haven't had any pain or anything on my ear. It's been fine ever since. And yeah, it took about like 4 to 5 days for the pain on my ear and on my head to kind of go away. Like by the second day, the pain and the throbbing that I felt on the side of my head, it went away. And I also took Advil for that. And by the third day, the pain around my ear, it started to slowly go away. And now that it's Thursday, I really do not feel any pain or anything. Now what I'm feeling is itchiness. And that's a good sign, because that is a sign that it's healing. So what I've been doing to clean around the Daith, I did try to get like a big bowl and kind of stick the whole side of my head so it can like soak in the salt water solution. But it's not really practical, and it's also really wasteful of water, because I'm only going to be using it one time, and I'm going to be wasting all this water and salt for this one time soaking. So I've been using another method to clean this, and that is, I just get a little ramekin, and I just get just a little bit of water, drinking water, whatever type of water you feel comfortable drinking. If it's good enough for you to drink, it's good enough to clean your piercing. So I get a little bit, not too much, that's all. And then I get some sea salt, not iodine, just pure natural sea salt. Pure natural sea salt. And I got this one from Costco. I get the salt, I put a little bit on in the water, about that much. And then I get a Q-tip. Now I've heard some people say it's not good to clean with Q-tip, but I have not had any issues with it. I use the same Q-tip to mix the water and the salt together. Now when it comes to the temperature of the water, some people say, oh, use warm or lukewarm water. I really don't do that. I just get my regular just water, and it's like room temperature water. But I really don't think that the temperature of the water has an effect on, you know, cleaning or disinfecting a piercing. So I just use the water, bottled water that I'm drinking to clean it. So I get my Q-tip, and I've been doing this now for such a long time that I almost have practice. And I just get like the area where the holes are and clean it like so. And I just stick my Q-tip in there. Let me zoom in a little bit more. So I just stick my Q-tip in there and kind of just twist it, you know, twist it like that to really get in there and just clean out the crust that develops around the piercing area. And then, as you guys can see, the Q-tip, as you guys can see, this Q-tip is pretty clean. That's really good. That means that, you know, it's healing and not a lot of crust is coming out. And now I'm going to clean the bottom section like so. And since this is a ring, you kind of, if you want, you can move the ring a little bit forward. Now I'm going to get it in the back of the ring because there's two sections like that. And then on the bottom, like so. And then what I like to do, once I'm finished rubbing the piercing area, I like to get the side, the Q-tip, a clean side of the Q-tip, and just go here on top and let the salt water just drip into the hole, the piercing hole, and that is going to help with really cleaning and disinfecting that area and also healing faster. And yeah, so I do that cleaning about twice a day, in the morning and at night before I go to bed. And yeah, like the piercing now is like, it's not painful anymore. I even feel like I can sleep on this side now just completely on its own. I like put my arm around like so it creates like a little hole. And yeah, that's what I've been doing to sleep if I want to sleep on this side. And also what I noticed on the first couple of days when I freshly got the piercing, the ring that's on the Daith would stick out like that. And I was afraid that that's how the jewelry is gonna be and it's gonna stick out like that for like ever. But now that it's like starting to heal and you know, it's not bleeding that much, the ring is like really nicely laying like flat on my ear and the way I want it. And yeah, I'm really happy with the way this has turned out so far. And yeah, I think this method of cleaning is really easy and practical, and it has really worked for me for this Daith piercing. And also another tip is that, you know, as this piercing is healing, it's going to start to itch. So instead of scratching it with your bare hands and your nails, which is dirty, it's good to keep one of these little like Q-tip package. I got this at Target, and every time, especially when I'm out in the street and it starts to itch, I get a Q-tip and I just I don't itch the I don't touch and move around the actual piercing because that's not what itches. It's just like the hole of where you clean your ears. You know, like just that hole right here when you clean it, that itches. For me, with this piercing, all of a sudden that area itches. Like I feel like sticking my finger in and scratching like that. But instead of sticking my finger, I just get a Q-tip and just, just rub it in there with the Q-tip. The Daith is up here and the whole of my ear is down here. So when I'm itchy, I just stick my Q-tip like so and just scratch down here. As you guys can see, I'm not touching my Daith piercing because that's usually not where I itch, is usually here. For some strange reason, that is where I itchy like all the time ever since I've gotten this piercing. So that's what I've been doing, and I think it's a really good handy tip to avoid scratching and touching your piercing and potentially getting it infected, is that if it starts itching and if you want to scratch it, get a Q-tip and just rub it, rub it. Or better yet, get some salt water solution in a Q-tip and rub that area where where it itches, and the itching will most likely go away that way at home. But if you're out in the street, instead of using your hands to scratch, get a Q-tip and rub. And then when you get home, get a Q-tip with some salt water and rub that area just to make sure that everything's clean. But yeah, I just wanted to stop by, talk about the Daith piercing because it is a really new piercing for me, and the experience of that heavy bleeding was new, and I've never heard other people talk about it on social media. So I just wanted to give my experience with that. If that does happen to you guys, to not freak out. You're not going to pass out and die. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. See you on my next video. Bye.